made it out, but I only recall a handful. Most got locked and turned the t-shirts to candles in. War zone, nobody can pop up dead. Big difference on the cops and the feds. Check that out. A big difference on the dawn that trap head. Turn it down. I told them use it as my casket if I drop dead. Money, power, respect is what the lot said. You showed a lot of respect is what the cops said. Paparazzi flicks on the 6 page. Grammy bunch with the 40s by the ribcage. Bill my Jackson want to be this like Big Dave. R.I.P. I've been buying rollies since a kid's age.
Yeah. What up? What up? Nah, man, that's that Harlem diplomat, Jim Jones.
I don't deal with anything that's sentimental, had cocaine in the rental. Nothing sweet, but all
We're doing halftime of the Nets versus the Pistons. No Blake Griffin playing today. No Kevin Durant playing. Kyrie Irving has 14 points. He's cooking. And Kyrie Irving's easily becoming one of the most watched and entertaining basketball players in the game today. He's very fun and entertaining to watch. His offensive skill set just gets better and better. And it's just flat out entertaining. I mean, he's Showtime. He's box office when it comes to entertainment and playing basketball. But another thing I want to talk to you guys about today is none other than, before I even talk about NBA, I'm going to switch over to talk to boxing. Marvelous Marvin Hagler passed away today at age of 66. Legendary boxer from the 80s. Some of you guys may not even know who he is, but I do. And he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. And I mean, 66, man. It's, you used to seeing at least seeing legends, pass away at like 80 or something. 66 still seems very young if you ask me. From what I heard, he didn't have no health issues. He just didn't wake up. Just one of those situations, man. Sad news, man. He's a great boxer, and yeah, it's it's a bummer, man. I hate reporting people passing away and stuff like that. I try to keep it more a fun-loving or just a debatable set when, I don't have to talk about people passing, but I mean, unfortunately, it's just how things is, and you got to speak on it sometimes. So all-time great Marvin Hagler passes away at age 66. So if you don't know who he is, you go and look him up. Homeboy has some classic matches, heavy hitter, great puncher. One of the all-time great boxers of all time from the golden era. If you know anything about boxing, the 1980s was the golden era for welterweights, heavyweights. Boxing was really at its best peak in the 80s, if you be honest. Some of the best boxers, especially welterweights, were from the 1980s, right? It was Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, man, So, catch up on some research what the 80s was all about, because the 80s had some of the best boxers of all time. If Floyd Mayweather boxing in the 80s, I could guarantee you he would have a couple losses on his record, because he would have no choice but to face some of them dudes, and those dudes was killers back then, great boxers. Third quarter got set in 51-46. All right, is your score. And I also want to talk about none other than the Lakers game from yesterday. I mean, Kyle Kuzma put on a show, dropped about 24 points. And, he said he was looking at LeBron James with the death stare, like, pass me the ball, dude. And this is a perfect example that the Lakers have more than enough talent. you guys downgrade Kyle Kuzma because he don't get touches and he's playing with LeBron James. You know, whenever some people play with LeBron, their level of performance goes down. Anthony Davis sucked up most of the shots. You know, Anthony Davis and LeBron soaks up most of the offense. So a guy like Kyle Kuzma can't get going. But Kyle Kuzma is a borderline all-star. And he would have been a good all-star if you just run some plays for the guy and let him play, you know? I wouldn't say Floyd's the GOAT, man. You know, you had to go up against some of them killers. Here's the thing about Floyd. He didn't box a lot of the all-time greats. He kind of ducked them. All the guys that people say that would beat Floyd, he kind of ran away from like a virus. So I can't give him full credit because Floyd always had a career when he was ducking people, you know? And then when he actually fought people, he just, for most part, you know, rocked people to sleep. And I don't mean by knocking them out. I mean rocking the audience to sleep. So, you know, yeah, he beat Manny, but Manny was old. He should have fought Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao was in his prime and when Floyd was in his prime. So it was both two old geezers fighting. And, you know, it's a shame on both of those guys for bullshitting and depriving the fans of good matches. That could have been a Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard all over again. And Manny Pacquiao would have beaten Floyd if they fought in their prime. Just the only reason why I say that is because when I watched the first fight, Manny Pacquiao would have beat him. If Manny Pacquiao was in his prime, he would have beat Floyd in 2010. You know, I'm 100% convinced that Pacquiao would have beat Floyd if they faced, you know, especially if they had just a flat out boxing match. Floyd would have lost. Floyd did a lot of illegal moves, clinching, holding on to his opponent, you know, and it wasn't a respectable win. I mean, yeah, he got the win, but it wasn't a respectable win. It's not a win that most people even brag about or talk about. You know, I think Floyd is on the same level with Barry Bonds and probably LeBron James as like the least respected superstars. And funny how all those three guys are part of this generation, you know? So nah, man, you can't do that steroid stuff because if he was that great like Floyd say he is, rather Pacquiao was using steroids or not, you should have still been able to beat him. You're a much bigger opponent, you know? So that's just another excuse not to fight Floyd. I mean, not to fight Manny. Floyd was ducking Manny Pacquiao like, you know, like Oprah Winfrey ducks Weight Watchers. You know, that's how much Floyd was ducking Manny back in that day. I like Floyd, but I'm not gonna sit there and lie for the guy. The guy was supposed to fight Manny back in 2010. He kept making all these excuses. You know, that's on him. You know, and his father was even quote saying that I don't want him to fight certain boxers because I'm afraid that he's gonna get killed. You know, and that's just a wimpy thing to say. And I mean, Floyd just don't get that much respect, man. He's a good boxer. I leave it at that. But you know, miss me with that same type of respect level that he got, like a Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard got more respect because Sugar Ray Leonard was taking on people in their prime. You know, he took risk, and that's what boxing is all about. It's about taking risk, not trying to fight guys when they beat up and you know you could get a win off them. You know, it's kind of a wimpy way. You know, it's not that impressive. You know, so Floyd Mayweather just pretty much proven to you that you could go undefeated and still have a resume that doesn't look that impressive. You know, so he put that to shame. 46 to 57 is your score. You know, oh damn, DeAndre Jordan is going to be just like Blake Griffin. They're going to get so many lobs from Kyrie Irving and James Harden, you know. But yeah, back to Kyle Kuzma, man. I think the Lakers been misusing Kyle Kuzma for quite some time, and he showed out in that game against the Indiana Pacers, and he also showed out in the game before that, you know, proving that if you give Kyle Kuzma the ball, he could be a legit third star. You know, the Lakers run too many plays for Anthony Davis. It's pretty much Anthony Davis come save us type of stuff. It's hero ball, you know. Even LeBron himself depends on Anthony Davis too much. And this is a discredit to his career because, you're supposed to be the best player on your team. You can't be referring to Anthony Davis all the time. You know, now a lot of guys on that Lakers team just don't get the spotlight or the position or to play at their best because, you know, sometimes playing with LeBron can handicap your career. I mean, look at Brandon Ingram. He was much better when he left LeBron. You know, he became an all-star when he left LeBron. I'm pretty sure Kyle Kuzma would have been an all-star by now if he left LeBron. Julius Randle, I mean, he wasn't there when LeBron was playing, but he left the Lakers. You know, they wasn't giving him enough touches. Look at him now. Now he's an all-star. Shout out to my Knicks. You know, R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle did that work today against the OKC Thunder, making New York basketball back on the mat. Speaking on Monday is the New York Knicks versus the Brooklyn Nets. And you know I'm going to be rooting for the New York Knicks, you know, to go up against those boys from Brooklyn. You know, Manhattan get the money, knock those boys out from Brooklyn. You know, this is an old school rivalry thing, man. I can't be having BK get no wins over Manhattan. That's the Mecca. So Manhattan better stomp a mud hole in Brooklyn, you know. So if you and all the players on the Knicks, treat that game like it's a championship game because you're not going to get to the finals anyway. So treat that game like a championship game and go and kick the Brooklyn Nets ass. You know, go ahead, Knicks. You know, I'll be rocking some blue and orange on that day. You better believe it. Knicks all day. You know, going to be rocking with that. So I had to tell that little story. I had to get that out. But you know, this Brooklyn Nets team, they're not even complete, but you know, they still getting wins. They stopping a mud hole in everybody in the Eastern Conference. So they're miles ahead of everybody already in the Eastern Conference without Kevin Durant. So with Kevin Durant, they should be winning the championship, right? And let me address this whole super team thing once and foremost. Okay, listen, super teams was invented in this era. The quote super team was never used in the 80s and 90s. Nobody walked around saying this is a super team because those teams were organically developed. Okay, it's not the same thing as player empowerment, going from team to team, playing with your best friends and playing with players that's already established. That's the logic behind super teams. So when I say every super team has won the championship, I am speaking for modern NBA history. Not everything is connected to the past. Okay. The 80s, the 90s, none of that shit got nothing to do with today's basketball. All right. So you're comparing apples and oranges. So when I say super team, I'm really starting from, I mean, you could make a case for the Boston Celtics 2008 and up. You know, they had their big three, and Rajon Rondo was like a borderline all-star. They won a championship. Miami Heat, they won championships. Golden State Warriors, they won championships. You know, stop making up weak examples of super teams that weren't really super teams. Okay. You know, some of you sitting there and say, well, the Lakers with Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, that wasn't a super team. Steve Nash wasn't even the same player that he was when that whole Lakers thing came about, you know. And Dwight Howard was on his way out the door for not being a superstar anymore. You know, he had back injuries and all that other stuff. And Kobe was old as, you know, as dirt. So that was not a super team like that. You're talking about super team guys in a prime, you know, top 10, top 5 players all on the same team. You know, you automatically got to win when you do that. That's what we mean by super team. I'm not talking about a 60-year-old Michael Jordan and a 50-year-old Charles Barkley and Hakeem Olajuwon teaming up with each other. That's not a super team, man. You know, you gotta stop using the words and contents, man. Then I had this one guy telling me a super team was Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony. Man, Allen Iverson used up most of his prime on the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, after that, he was all right, you know. Thank you, my Matrix. He won 2 championships with Paul Gasol. You know, that was his sidekick, and he just had regular role players to help him out. A more respectable way of winning. All right. It's not like Kobe was playing with a top 5 player in the game, and then he went out and recruited another top 10 player in the game. Okay, let's stop that. All right. Even Shaq and Kobe themselves, They were probably the top 5 players in the game, but that wasn't quote unquote called a super team either. Because a super team is a team with multiple in prime all-stars or superstars. That's the definition of a super team. Okay? You guys lose the word super team too loosely when some of you don't even know what it means. You're just going by saying what a super team is without no logic behind it. You know, there's a reason why we say super team. We're talking about guys in a prime. That's hot, you know? Like Bobby Sherman, hot nigga. You got to be one of them dudes. You got to be a hot nigga. You know, you got to be in your prime. You know, you can't be some old brother and, you know, can't get the job done. You know, if you old as dirt, how you a super team? You're not helping nobody if you old as dirt. You're not even in your prime anymore. Your prime is everything when it comes to sports. If you can't play at a high level no more, you're not in your prime. What good are you? You're not a superstar anymore. It's time for you to sit your ass down and say, hey, I'm retired. Kobe is a top 5 for some people, you know? And let's put some respect on Kobe's name. Kobe would have kicked LeBron's ass in 2008, 2009, and 2010. I don't care how much stats LeBron got. At the end of the day, Kobe would have beat LeBron, you know? Last year's Lakers was not a super team. Nobody said it was. So this is what I keep telling people, man. You guys just randomly keep saying stuff with nobody didn't even say it. Who said the Lakers was on a super team? Nobody said that. They get a third superstar, then they become a super team. But they don't get a big 3. You know, the logic behind a super team is 3 in prime, all stars, possibly 1 do 10, top 10. That's a super team. Not a bunch of good guys, borderline all stars, stuff like that. No. Established players that got together that was already established and they formed a super team. That's the logic behind a super team, quote unquote, in 2020, in this era. Okay? You guys got to stop comparing everything to the past. That's like me bringing the PlayStation 5 to the 1980s. 4K technology didn't even exist then. So what are we talking about? All right? Some stuff only is catered to today's era, you know? Got to stop linking everything to the past when it has no connection to it. So, I mean, that's just the facts of it. And, you know, some people still believe Kobe's better than LeBron. And, you know, they got a logic. They got credit to say that. Yeah, we just said that's credit to LeBron. How many times do we got to keep saying that? You know, we just said LeBron he won a championship without a super team last year. Then I said that like literally when the Lakers won the championship. How many videos have I made said that? You don't hear me say nothing about, you know, I think people just want to, not you, Blue, but I think a lot of people, especially LeBron Extreme fans, they just want people to praise LeBron James all day long. That's all it comes down to. You know, we give him credit where it's due and then we don't. I mean, it's as simple as that. We're not going to get on our knees and start worshiping the guy and try to make excuses for him every 2 minutes. You know, he got some pros, he got some cons. You know, but majority of his championships were won with multiple all-stars. The only one that didn't was this one we're playing with Anthony Davis. You know, he could change that again if he wins another championship. If he wins another championship, he beats the Brooklyn Nets. They got a super team. That's credit on his resume. Hell yeah, that was considered a super team. How it wasn't. Now, here's the thing. The Warriors before Kevin Durant got there wasn't a super team. You know why? Because Draymond Green wasn't a top 10 player like that. He wasn't even a top 5 player, you know? Yeah, Blue, but LeBron's also in the top 10 for a lot of people as well. You know, some people don't get LeBron in their top 5. LeBron in your top 5 is not a lock. I think guys like Jordan and Kareem are locks for top 5. Literally anybody with a brain who watches basketball put Jordan and Kareem in their top 5. But LeBron is debatable because his career is not fully finished. He didn't convince everybody that he's a top 10 player. And you could make a case that he's not. And you also could make a case that he is. No, he's not a lock for a top 5 player, you know. No, Iggy was a good role player, you know, solid role player, man. He wasn't no top 10 player like that. You know, they won 73 games off hard work and team basketball. You know, they were not a super team before Durant got there. When Durant got there, they became a super team because you had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and you had Kevin Durant. That's your three all-stars, 2 superstars, and 1 all-star. That's under the rules of a super team, a big 3. But Draymond Green was not, nor never he ever was a top 5 or a top 10 player. You know, so that's credit to him that he was able to help his team win 73 wins. You know, that Warriors team just played full team basketball. They had a deep bench. They was loaded in every category, every position, and on a role player level, you know, but they were not a super team. They became a super team when Kevin Durant got there. Because that's when people start saying, hey, they're unbeatable now because they just added a top 5 player. Steph Curry at the time was a top 5 player. So you had 2 top 5 players. Then you had Klay Thompson, who was arguably a top 10 for a lot of people. Super team. You know, and Draymond Green wasn't too shabby. He was just always a highly glorified role player. I mean, the guy made the All-Star team. I don't know how the hell he did that. Averaging 11 points. That's the most he ever did in the season. You know? But, you know, yeah, Blue, you're right. You may be right, man. But I mean, only time will tell. You know, we can't give LeBron awards for stuff that he hasn't done yet. Do it first. Then we could give you your proper ranking. But until then, I mean, it's all debatable because his career is not done. The book is not closed. You know, he could solidify that number 2 spot for sure. You know, he has a chance to do it, you know. Oh, the 90s Bulls beat Showtime Lakers. Oh my God, that's a hell of a battle. Oh my God, that's a good battle. Okay, but what 90s Bulls are we talking about? Because there's 2 transitions of 90s Bulls. Are you talking about the second group of Bulls, the late 90s Bulls, or are you talking about the early one with Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen? Because you're talking about the one with Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen from the 90s or the late 80s. That team would have got mopped by the Showtime Lakers. Yeah, that team would have got mopped. I'm sorry. You know, that team would have definitely got mopped. But the 96 team, the team that won 72 games, could they beat the Showtime Lakers? I don't know, man. I think that'd go to game 7 and it just come down to the battle of wills, you know, who just wanted more. You know, I'm gonna give the Bulls a slight edge because, you know, number 23 is on it, you know, and he always shows out on the biggest stage. You know, he always brings it on the biggest stage. One thing I could rely on is that Mike ain't going back down. So I know Mike is going to go out blasting, emptying out everything. So, you know, I'm going with Mike until I will say different if I saw somebody beat him like that on a higher stage or he does like collapse. But since he never did, you know, he bought it all the time. I'm going with Mike. But that Showtime Lakers team was deep. You know, I could win anyway. Kobe Lakers versus Big 3 Miami Heat. Are you talking about when Kobe was the alpha or the one with Shaq? If you say Kobe Lakers, you're talking about the one with Gasol in them. Man, I think the one with Gasol would have beat the Miami Heat for 2011, but the Miami Heat for 2012 and 2013, I think probably they would have probably beaten Kobe. They were probably beating that team with Kobe and Paul Gasol. If you answer that one, Nah, I don't think so. I think the 2013 Heat would have got spacked up by the Bulls, that 96 Bulls team. Oh, that's definitely for sure. Because you got to look at the big three from the Miami Heat. You got LeBron James. LeBron James is a player that he did it once, you could do it again. You could always get inside LeBron James' head. So yeah, Mike and them would have gotten LeBron's head. I think LeBron would have been thrown out the series a little bit. He would have been underperforming against Mike. Then it came down to Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. I wouldn't be afraid of them as much. Then they would have got their stuff off. But without that extra boost from LeBron, they would have lost. Okay, Kobe Alpha teams. Yeah, that big three from the Miami Heat would have beat that Kobe's team. In prime or out of prime, even. But if you just go by a simple 2 all-star teams, just with role players, and none of that super team stuff, none of that Heedle stuff, and you just do LeBron versus Kobe NBA Finals, Kobe beats LeBron. I think Kobe would have beat LeBron in 2008, 2009, and 2010. Oh, you liked it, that team? That team was trying to be a dugged out team, Al Matrix. They thought there was a bunch of Dougs on it, especially Rasheed Wallace, man. 63 to 70, 63 to 73 is your score. And Kyrie Irving is becoming blockbuster, man. The guy is just fun to watch basketball. He's becoming one of them guys that I like watching. Nah, ain't no stop it, no. Because I have seen, if I seen a track record of you folding in certain moments, I'm not going to give you that edge over Mike. LeBron ain't stopping Mike, because I know LeBron couldn't stop Kobe in certain moments. So if he can't stop Kobe, he ain't stopping Mike. Even if it is an all-star game, or if you pick Kobe against LeBron one-on-one, you really think LeBron going to outplay or beat Kobe one-on-one? Kobe's a better one-on-one scorer, and he's a better one-on-one defensive player. And he proved that countless times whenever they guarded each other. Keep in mind, LeBron got his numbers when he played against Kobe. Was a lot of times he wasn't even scoring on Kobe. He was scoring on them other dudes like Ron Artest or Lamar Odom. But I mean, you think Kobe was gonna let you bust him up like that one-on-one? You must be on drugs. If you think Mike gonna let you do that, you on drugs. And LeBron said it himself. He's not a one-on-one player like that. I'm not a scorer. So how you gonna beat Mike if you can't outscore Mike, or you can't stay in front of him? LeBron's never been a great one-on-one defensive stopper. He's a great help defensive player, chase down blocks, stuff of that nature. But LeBron said it himself. Kobe, Melo, Durant, the hardest guys to guard. So you got to throw Mike in there if he was guarding Mike. Mike was a scoring machine. Had a unique skill set. He was Kobe before Kobe, a more better version of Kobe, the originator. So I seen what Kobe could do to LeBron when he gets locked in. And I think that comes down to a battle of wills. Who wants it more? And I don't think LeBron has that mentality or that attitude to want to stop Kobe. Kobe would want to stomp a mud hole in LeBron. Yeah, there's no way, nothing you could convince me to say he wouldn't. What goes to Mike than Harden? And if you're talking about from best player rankings, you way off with that. He said LeBron's a super role player. I mean, I ain't gonna disrespect LeBron and say he a role player now. I mean, but yeah, I mean, this goes back to the logic. Remember, I made the video of Larry Bird and Magic versus Durant and LeBron James. All right, it's just basic common sense. You guys watch all these young players, all these today players, and you think they'd be able to do the same shit that they do today in a game in the past where you got to downgrade. Okay, you're not allowed to do some of the stuff that you do now in the 80s and 90s. Okay, it wasn't even heard of. So your skill set would be completely different. And if LeBron James looked up to Kobe and Mike as far as the basketball player goes, if he played in the same era with them, what would his skill set be then? He would have nobody to have a copy of skill set from. So his game would be completely different. You know, I said greatness transcends to any era. Yes. But that doesn't mean your numbers will transcend to any era. Some things just can't be repeated. You know, that goes for both. Whenever you take a player from the past and you put him in the present, he gets to automatically upgrade, because it's just like with technology. That player will automatically be upgraded because he won't have that same skill set from the 80s, 90s, whatever you want to call it, whatever era, in today's league, because he would have been a product of today's generation, if that makes sense to you, if you understand what I'm trying to say. You can't crisscross eras. You can't bring something into the 80s that didn't exist in the 80s because the technology and the time didn't exist then. You get what I'm coming from? So it's kind of like you're beating up against a dead drum. Okay? Anything that goes into the past gets downgraded. It's like if you go back into the past of, you know, Julius Caesar days, you know, no cell phone, right? None of that stuff, you know? You can't bring a cell phone into that days. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not reaching. This is common sense. You think LeBron going to be doing a Euro step in the 80s and 90s and the move wasn't even allowed then? You think he's going to be doing a step back, all that stuff? Yeah, we know, because it don't exist. Anything that goes down to any old era gets downgraded. But anything old gets upgraded. It's like same thing with technology. If you listen to an old song, what happens to it? You can listen to it now, remastered. Do you know what remastered means? Remastered means that the product has been upgraded to suit today's generation. You could play your old video game from Xbox One or the other systems, upgrade it, upscale it to 4K, right? Why can you do that? Because anything from the past could be upgraded, okay? But anything from the present cannot be upgraded in the past because it didn't exist that time, you know? No, LeBron would not be steamrolling through the 90s. He'd be a great player because greatness transcends, but his numbers would be down a little bit. It'd be a complete different LeBron James. Be a complete different LeBron James. No, again, you're not understanding what I'm saying. Anything from the past gets upgraded today. So if Mike was one of the greatest scorers of all time, greatness transcends to any era. If you zap him into an era with LeBron and he's born into the same era with LeBron, he will still have his same skill set, but it would be upgraded. So Mike would be even more of a offensive threat playing today because he wouldn't have the rules of hard fouls. He'd be easily a guy dropping 30 or something points a game, just like your boy James Harden. Common sense. Jordan was the first with his own skill set. Jordan was a transcending player. If you're a transcending player, that skill set is your skill set. Nobody could copy it until you bring it to the game. So if Jordan was playing today, the fadeaway style, the fadeaway jump shot, all that Jordan stuff that he was doing, tongue out, the one-handed dunks, the crazy layups at the basket, all of that stuff would have been upgraded if he was playing now. He'd be even more of a devastating player if he played now. Period. But if you zap LeBron James to the 90s, some of those numbers that he got now would get downgraded a little bit because his skill set wouldn't be the same as you see now. See? Now you see the difference? Now do you see the difference? That's just how it is. You know? Man, you remind me of Mr. Ohio, man. That slurping stuff? Nah, we ain't doing no slurping. We're just speaking facts. You can't upgrade the past, but you can upgrade the future because the future is all about being upgraded. You know, we move into more and more new eras as time goes by. But just because something's new doesn't mean it's better. It's the same thing with Oscar Robertson. All them boys, Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, if they were playing today, their skill set would be completely different, but it'd be better because they would be just as athletic as the guys you say is super athletic, like LeBron James. You know, Oscar Robertson would be super athletic if he played today because he would have all the advanced metrics, all the upgrades of today. He'd be just as athletic. He might not even be the height that he is if he played today because guys are naturally taller and bigger, right? So if guys are naturally taller and bigger in this generation, then Oscar Robertson, if he was born in this generation, he'd be taller and bigger. And he'd be that guy that's super fast. You understand? But you can't upgrade in an era and go back into the past. Anything that's a past tense cannot be upgraded. In that terms, you can't zap something from the future to the past. You know? Nah, he more like Magic Johnson. I don't see none of Mike and LeBron James. None. I think Kobe had more Mike in them than LeBron James. Larry Bird, I think Larry Bird reminds me of Luka a little bit. I'm going to go and say Larry Bird reminds me of Luka. If LeBron reminds me of any player from the past, it's Magic Johnson. You know? Saying, look at Magic Johnson. He's an 80s player, right, Zach? Guys weren't naturally like built, you know, like how they are now. Guys in today's era, they hit the gym, they lift weights. You know, guys in Magic era were naturally big. You know, they didn't have muscles, but they were naturally big. It's just natural power. But if Magic Johnson was born today, he wouldn't be doing that. He wouldn't have that body shape that you see in the 80s. He would have a today's body shape. He'll be a dude that hit the gym. He'd be a product of this generation. So his game would have been upgraded even more. You know what I'm saying? You know, you guys, I understand, I get it, but you want to put LeBron too much. This is why I say he on that overrated list. You guys put him on a pedestal that's too high. You know, his career is not even done yet. You know, if I wouldn't be surprised if you guys sitting here saying LeBron's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. You know, you give this guy all these titles for all this crazy stuff. You know, and he didn't even prove that yet. You know, let the man finish his career out. Stop overrating LeBron James just because you like him. Or stop playing the victim card. Like, all you guys do is criticize LeBron. We criticize everybody. All right. Stop playing the victim card. You know, LeBron's no victim. If anything, you the one that started the player movement. Like Draymond Green said, dog, you started it. You the one that got on stage and said not one, not two. You changed your whole NBA when you did that. The guys looked at that and be like, holy shit. We could team up with our best friends. We could form super teams. We say the word super teams. That's a today thing, man. There ain't no 80s or 90s. What the hell we talking about with the 80s and 90s if you're doing that? That ain't got nothing to do with the 80s and 90s. That's a new generation thing, Jack. That's a PS5 thing. You ride for your era. You know, I'm watching NBA since the late 80s. Well, he should. You know, you're talking about a generation gap. But when Kobe was in his prime and LeBron was in his prime, it was a different story. And you're comparing apples and oranges, man. But keep in mind, that's these records or these empty stats that you bring up, they only come about when LeBron is playing against guys that's not guarding Kobe. He's not guarding Kobe. He's not doing that to Kobe. You know, pull up videos, try to see LeBron crossing up or shaking Kobe. But I could pull up videos of Kobe scoring over LeBron because Kobe was always willing to go at LeBron, something LeBron wasn't willing to go at. And Kobe used to give LeBron the business. Even their last game, he was scoring on LeBron like crazy. But of course, LeBron was always later in their careers, LeBron was always on a better team. Of course they going to win. He playing with multiple all-stars. Kobe, in his last few years, was playing with scrubs. Who you think supposed to win? You know, not directly talking to you, Blue, but I'm just saying. You know, regular season stats and all this other stuff is empty stats, man. They mean nothing. You know, Kobe got a winning record over Michael Jordan, 3-5. I bet you guys didn't realize that. Does that mean he better than Mike because he got a winning record? His team won more? No. Carmelo used to go at LeBron, and Carmelo Anthony used to beat LeBron in their early years. I'm glad you brought that up, Zach. LeBron said it himself. Carmelo Anthony was one of the hardest guys to guard when Carmelo Anthony was in his prime. And Carmelo Anthony hit game-winning shots on LeBron. Game-winning shots. Okay, so does that mean Carmelo Anthony's better than LeBron? Because Carmelo Anthony got a winning record over LeBron for a good amount of their career, early in their career. LeBron started beating Carmelo Anthony when he went to Miami and up. All LeBron's major victories came at the expense of joining the Miami Heat. A lot of guys don't realize that. So you bringing up all these records, but these are records with him playing with multiple superstars already. So how impressed could I possibly be with that? Because LeBron's first 7 years playing in Cleveland, he was getting outplayed by Carmelo Anthony one-on-one. I bet you didn't know that. When Carmelo Anthony was on the Denver Nuggets, he was giving LeBron the business. But did I ever say Carmelo Anthony's better than LeBron? No. So by that logic, it doesn't make sense. Here's another one. Kawhi Leonard got a winning record over LeBron James. So that means Kawhi Leonard's better than LeBron because he has a winning record over him, right? No. I didn't rank Kawhi Leonard over LeBron James. So that's not that I could poke holes in that stat all the time. You telling me that LeBron got a winning record over Kobe means nothing. Because I could tell you guys I got a winning record over LeBron. Means nothing. Kevin Durant got a winning record over LeBron, but it came at the expense of what? Super team. How impressed are you with that? LeBron got a winning record over Kobe. Came at the expense of what? Super team. How impressed do you want me to be with that? You want me to jump up and down when your guy got multiple superstars on his team and the other guy doesn't, but you beat his team? Of course you're supposed to beat his team. Now, I never get that. The LeBron fans use the craziest logic. You lose some of this logic of these empty stats of LeBron got a winning record over Kobe. Kawhi got a winning record over LeBron. What does that mean? No, I think LeBron is a better all-around player than Kobe Bryant. I never said that. I'm just stating facts to you. See, this is the dang. You guys continually try to move the goalposts. LeBron has the stats and the dominance over Kobe Bryant. But you got to put that in perspective. Why does he have the stats and dominant stuff over Kobe Bryant? One of the reasons is because he played in the Eastern Conference. If Kobe played in the Eastern Conference, his numbers have been up too. He probably would have been to the finals a lot of times too if he had multiple superstars with him. But all I'm saying is just because a guy has a winning record over you doesn't mean he's a better basketball player. That don't mean nothing. No. J.R. Smith was all right, but he ain't no superstar. He ain't no all-star neither. He all right. Man, I never hate on Kobe. I just speak truth, but people don't want to hear stuff like that, man. People want you to sit there and constantly suck up to somebody and make excuses for people. I don't get paid money to suck up to nobody. I just got to tell it like how I feel it is. That's it. It's funny how people constantly keep trying to move the goalposts. It really is funny. Is LeBron going to go down ahead of Kobe? Yeah, he may go down ahead of Kobe because he has something that Kobe don't have. He was an alpha for a longer period of time. He's always been the number one on his team. You can't make that case with Kobe because he played with Shaq. That was by the media over 10 years ago. Again, can't relate the past to the present. If I make a video talking about a guy being overrated at that time by the media, it's at that time. You need to zap yourself back to that time. You can't live in the past, man. You gotta live in the present. Being overrated is just saying that people give you more credit than usual. That list constantly changes. I could say LeBron's the most overrated player right now in the league because of the media is always gassing him up. Guys like Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp. But when they jump off LeBron's bandwagon and they go hitchhike on somebody else's bandwagon, I say that next guy is overrated. That doesn't mean he sucked. Okay? Nobody said anything about them being bad. Overrated doesn't mean you're a bad player. Doesn't mean you're garbage. It just means people praise you a little too much. That's all. I don't even take that as being offensive, But some people run away with the word overrated. They think it means that you suck, that you're one of the worst players to ever play basketball. You could be overrated and underrated at the same time. Did you realize that? There are some players that is overrated and underrated at the same time. Walt Chamberlain, easily. Bill Russell is the most overrated player in history for me. Now, that doesn't mean Bill Russell sucks. He just got way too much credit than what he deserved. Way too much credit. Now, if you take Bill Russell and you was to upgrade Bill Russell into today's league, he'd be nothing more than like a more cerebral version of Ben Wallace. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. Al Matrix. I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I was about to say. He'd be Ben Wallace. He'd be a better version of Ben Wallace, to get it that way. But having like 22 rebounds in games, nah, he won't be doing that now. Because the parity in the league, it's rarely apples and oranges when you compare the 60s to now. You're talking about when there was only like 8 teams in the league, not too many African Americans playing. You had Bill Russell sitting there getting rebounds over midgets. And Bill Russell not like he was super tall for his era anyway. He wasn't even the best player on his own team. Hold on for a minute. Oh, here, let me put this link in. I'll put these headphones on. No. Now, if you're gonna make the argument for LeBron being better than Kobe, you don't put yourself in a hole by talking about, well, no, this guy got a winning record over him, because that person could easily hit you back and plug holes in you for a guy like Durant or Kawhi got winning records over LeBron. No, none of that stuff means anything. It's at the end of the day, what did you do on the biggest stage there is? And how did you win? What's up?
Yo.
What's good, man?
What up?
You watching this game?
Hell no, man. I'm playing 2K right now. I'm about to join, though.
You stay on that 2K, man. I ordered one too, so.
Yeah, man, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
I'm on that 2K, my team, man.
Word. I got it all late, though. By the time I start playing and getting into it, the new one will be out.
Nah, hell no. The new one ain't coming out till like October, bro.
Oh, okay. I got a little while to.
Like, long way to go, bro. You feel me? You can still hop
okay.
in and join all the leagues and all that.
Word. What do? You upgrade every year, or you just keep the same game a little bit?
Nah, upgrade this bitch as soon as it come out, the first day.
Oh, word? That's what's up.
Always, but my thing is saying, like, I play 2K and I play this thing called My Team. I don't really play my career and shit like that no more. But I mean, I did, but since I switched over to the P5, since I got it, I haven't played that. So.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. It's 90-84. Brooklyn Nets is up. 4 minutes to go.
But if you hop on it and play the My Team, like, my nigga, the players is only getting better and better, so you'll be just in time.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. What these dudes talking about, the who better between Kobe and LeBron?
Yeah, we're talking about that and talk about like you know, LeBron and you know, where he ranks and stuff like that. You know, it's just different for LeBron because okay, look, out of all the years you've been watching basketball, have you ever seen a superstar player seem to need more help than usual? No,
No,
that
it's not.
see, out of all the superstars, I could always look at LeBron and be like, man, this guy was bailing him out in this game. This guy was carrying LeBron. You know, I can't say that about a lot of other superstars, but I could say it about LeBron a lot because I see in more cases of it. You know, last night was a perfect example. The Lakers would have lost that game last night if it wasn't for Kyle Kuzma.
I mean, nah, I think they'd have lost it. Was I mean, they would have lost it if it wasn't for the referees.
These guys at the referee. Nah, Kyle Kuzma was cooking last night though, bro.
Yeah, but look how many free throws they shot. Like,
Yeah. Right.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
Dwayne Lawrence is asking, is Kyrie all right? I don't know, man. He looks sick. If we keep saying that, I don't know what's wrong with the brother. Maybe he's not eating right.
word, like he looks
Maybe
crazy.
maybe he on a diet or something. He got
Vegetarian.
that. He got that Pookie thing going on, man. This is New Jack City.
Yeah.
Words, that boy's like toothpick skinny. But yeah,
Oh,
man. I was talking to my man Blue. He was talking about, you know, LeBron had a winning record over Kobe, and I was like, you can't go by that because you guys would sit there and say LeBron's better than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard got a winning record over LeBron. You know,
yeah. Wow.
so I
Good
mean,
margin.
you can't use that. You know, use that as a dang. And even when LeBron team was beating Kobe's team, that was later in Kobe's career when he was almost out the gate. Kobe was always like 6 or 7 years older than LeBron. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, and that's when he had multiple superstars already on his team. Of course, they gonna win. You know, I don't know, man. It's how I'm supposed to judge somebody that has multiple superstars on their team. I'm not going to give them full credit. I have to give the credit to some of the other guys. You know, I mean, take Kyrie Irving for example. He put on a finals classic performance in 2016, but all you guys talk about is LeBron James all the time.
Yeah, and he ain't
You know?
even come up clutch besides that block.
Yeah, and you fail to realize it's not like Kyrie was just giving you 18 or 20 a game. This brother was dropping 40 a game. Okay, he was out there cooking dudes, man. That's superstar alpha numbers. That's not role player numbers, you know. Yep, Gillian, that's perfect. Exactly what I'm saying. Walt Chamberlain was better than Bill Russell. Bill Russell had a better team.
Of course.
You know,
Come on, man.
Bill Russell just had a better team. He played with multiple Hall of Famers. You know,
when it comes to the players from like back in the day, bro, I don't really pay them no mind because like the basketball players is trash as hell, bro. Like,
it's word.
Bro, like the way they dribble, like the way, come on, my nigga, like some niggas, the game is not up to par like how it is now.
Yeah, how you doing?
What's good? What's good, G Money? What it do, man?
Great. Just watching the Pistons Nets game. Detroit giving Brooklyn some trouble here.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. They're actually up by 1. I just forget. I wasn't even looking just now. Last time
Pistons
I looked,
up 1 now. Yeah.
Word.
And yeah, like I said, I know people like saying, "Oh, the Celtics did not win before Bill." Do people understand that before Bill came, Frank Ramsey was in the military, and the fact that Time Heinz was not in the NBA at the time? But people want to act like Bill just came and they just won. Don't get me wrong. Bill Russell was impactful. Don't get me wrong. But people need to use context with his career, though. He was only a defender that could pass. That's what he was. He was not a scoring big man.
Yep. You know, and it always changes when you could make a case for you not being the best player on your team. You know,
exactly. It could have been Time Heinsohn. It could have been Sam Jones. Do people forget? Look, I think Wilt's better than Bill Russell, but do people forget that Sam Jones has 10 rings and he outscored Bill and he outscored Will Chamberlain Game 7s? Do people like? No one
Mm-hmm.
talks about that, man.
Yep.
Bro, like honestly, I don't even associate with people who even talk about that ever of basketball. Like, who them niggas is all trash, bro. You feel me? Every last
Mm.
one of them niggas on the whole NBA. Like my nigga, them niggas are so trash that
This guy
freshmen
said he tried.
Mm-hmm.
that my nigga freshmen right now are better than them. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
how trash they was, bro. Like I ain't
Exactly.
even
And people like keep
and you
saying,
feel me?
"Oh,
I ain't even talk about ranked freshmen. You heard? I ain't even
uh-huh."
talking about like Mikey. I ain't talking about like Mikey Williams, whatever the kid name is. I'm talking about regular freshmen. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
these
Excuse me.
niggas is
Yeah.
trash, bro. Like,
Yeah, and they blow that whole 11 championship thing out of proportion. It was only like eight.
Exactly. They don't
It's
look at
only
the
like eight
era he played
teams.
in.
Yeah,
They
of
don't look at
course.
the era.
Of
It's
course,
like,
bro,
you're
who the
gonna keep
fuck?
winning when you got all the best players, and there's only a
uh-huh.
little bit of teams in the league anyway.
And that's what I'm saying. The only competition the Celtics had was a Will Chamberlain led team or the Lakers. That was it.
That's
Them
it.
niggas
Yeah.
is all trash.
That's what I'm saying. And people like coming with this narrative.
Yeah,
You feel me? Like, what
yeah,
are
yeah,
we
you making
talking
me
about?
laugh, Sam.
What are we talking about right now?
Yeah,
Every
you make
last
me
one of
laugh.
them niggas in the NBA that was in there in the '60s and was all fucking trash, bro. You
You
feel
know.
me?
First, I agree. Other than the teams I just mentioned, I agree. And here's the problem: people buy into the narrative that Will Bill Russell was the most impactful player of all time. That's one of the dumbest things I ever heard. So wait
Right.
a minute. If we're going by the logic that Bill Russell's a top 10, which I find that ridiculous, then
Mm-hmm.
is
Bill
Sam Jones a
Russell,
top 10 player? He has 10 rings.
yeah, Gillian. Bill Russell would have been an upgraded version of Ben Wallace if
Pretty
he was
much,
playing that.
yes.
Yo, we don't even really know that.
He said, "Y'all really know that." Oh, word.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Bill Russell. Bill
Yeah,
Russell's a
yeah, me
good
too.
guy. He was a good player. But I just think that this whole top 10 thing, I just think it's blown off proportion. People need
Yeah,
to look at his career in a context, though, not
yeah.
just rings.
Oh, yeah. You know, I think a little bit of it is the off the court stuff. I mean, I give him full credit for that. He played in the
True,
'60s. It was
true,
very racist back then, so I'm gonna
true.
give him credit for that, all the off court stuff
I'll
that he
give him
did.
that, too.
But on the court, if you're just talking basketball, nah.
He's a good player on the court. Don't worry. He was a good
Yeah,
player.
good,
I'm just
good player.
He was a good player, but he was just only a defender that could pass the ball. That's what he was.
Yeah,
That was athletic too. He was athletic. I'll give him that.
yeah. So,
Yo, all niggas is
okay, then.
trash, man.
Yeah, who got me
Which it
laughing,
was.
man? Yeah.
Why are we talking about them, bro? Like, come
All
on,
right.
man. Like, you feel me? Why are we talking about these niggas?
Nah, man, it was
Yo,
going on
bro,
in the chat, man. We was talking about LeBron versus Kobe. We was talking
bro,
about
back
like
in the
everything,
day,
man.
yo, bro, back in the day, these niggas didn't even know how to use their left hand, bro.
Uh huh.
Like, yo, you see the way they used to dribble? Pete, you heard?
Yeah, I
Them
heard
niggas
you
was
say.
like this, like one
All right.
hand running in circles. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I mean, bro, you ain't even have a 3-point line. There was no organization. Bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about right now, bro?
Bears starting to take over. 6-1 run by the Nets.
Bro,
Oh, there you go.
there was not enough information on basketball to even fully develop real skill.
Word.
You feel me? Like,
Mm-hmm.
And look at Hoop in his bag right now, son. You making me laugh.
come
Mm-hmm.
on, bro. Like, that game
Word.
was built. The game was built off fucking drugs and physical nature back then, bro. You feel me?
Word.
You, them niggas was high. They was doing heroin, drinking beer. You feel
Word.
me? Like, that shit was crazy.
Hey, yo, G Money, you know what's Monday, right? It's
Yeah.
the Knicks versus Nets, baby.
Can't wait. Monday.
Woo,
Battle in New
yeah,
York. Could be a
yeah.
playoff preview. Who knows?
I would love to see that, man. I mean, I used to be proud just to see the Knicks make the playoffs. You know, I got to take my hat off to Julius Randle, man. He out
And
there balling.
RJ Barrett too. RJ
RJ Barrett
Barrett,
too. Yeah,
Julius Randle, Quigley bowled out today, 20-19. You want to hear this? We won 21 games last year. We already have 20. We already have 20 games now. So
yeah.
20 wins now, and we look to tie it up. Look to get 21 by Monday. Do I think we'll win on Monday? I don't think so, but you never know.
Mm. All right. Hell yeah, man.
Man, like, I mean, I would hate to be in you guys' situation
Word.
because imagine how trash your team has to be. I mean,
Mm.
like, fucking has to be
Wow.
that y'all motherfuckers is happy that y'all making it as the eighth seed, which is
Word.
actually a celebration for the Knicks. You feel what
Hey,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
man.
Mm.
Still, I can't even. Well, I'm just saying, like, how
This
bad
that
that had to been. You feel what I'm saying? Right or wrong?
Word. Yeah. Man, it's
It's
better
fucked
than
up,
nothing. I take it though. You
but it's
know.
not y'all fault. It's really the owner.
Word. You know.
That
But
nigga,
yeah,
man.
man. Speaking of new players, Gillian, you know the Houston Rockets, they doing a yard sale.
tell me about it. They lost 15 straight games.
They get
Also,
they get rid of
they
everybody.
may trade Oladipo, Tucker. You know, Wall, I heard Wall may be gone. They're gonna blow up their whole roster. It's like they don't have a
Word.
direction.
I think they just want draft picks and a rebuild.
Pretty
But
much,
you know, so
draft picks, rebuild, and just start over. And I
did
want to
they
throw this.
did
And
they bought let me ask you
go
this
ahead.
question though. Did they bought PJ Tucker out? Because I heard about that.
They
I don't know
might
for sure.
though. They might. They might.
All right. All right, go ahead. What you were saying again?
I was about to say that the Rockets 15 game slide, it ties their longest losing streak in franchise history. Yikes.
Word, that's crazy.
And they're playing Boston tomorrow, so probably 16.
Damn. But yeah, man, they cleaning house. They taking all trades in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I never seen a team blow up that bad like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
And that make that coach look bad. The first year black
Oh,
coach.
Steven
Like,
Silas, yeah.
Yeah, he may get the boot because every time you have a losing record, the first guy to go is the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so and he didn't really do nothing. He just came to a team that's imploding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't get a chance to really coach these dudes. All these dudes is just leaving from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
this nigga James Harden, man.
The
Word.
beard is cooking. Floater game is working right now.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, it's James Harden. I mean, this is his time. This regular season. You know how he doing a regular season, man.
Facts.
True,
He
but
look
I'm gonna be
good.
honest with you. I'm not that impressed by the Nets tonight. Why do you even a game with the Pistons though?
True that. You know, yo, you know who gonna have? I think Blake Griffin gonna have to get his legs back. He gonna have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
opportunities for lob dunks.
I agree.
He got to get his legs back because look what DeAndre Jordan is doing with him. That could be Blake Griffin next.
That's true. Because DeAndre Jordan's doing well with the pick and roll, the lob, and DeAndre Jordan hasn't missed a beat. And if
Yeah.
Blake Griffin can show his athleticism come playoff time by the end of the season, and come
Mm.
playoff time, this team's gonna be more dangerous.
Word. That is true, man.
They are scary, but if you're Brooklyn, I just noticed this with the Nets. They gotta be better against the bad teams. Every time they play against a great team, they dominate. But then when they play against a bad team, they're in the game. Like they gotta be
Word.
better at that.
Word. I hear that. And yo, you seen Kyle Kuzma cooking last night, right?
Kyle Kuzma was huge in fourth quarter, 15 that fourth quarter. Lakers came back from being down 12 in the fourth.
And this is what happens when you give Kyle Kuzma more opportunities, run some plays from him,
Mm-hmm.
put the ball in his hands. Every time
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis is on that team, all they do is run plays for Anthony Davis. Like
Yeah.
he ends up with the ball 90% of the time. Even
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is like depending on Anthony Davis a lot because
I,
a lot of his passes are
mm-hmm.
basically or assists are just passes to Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they need to get everybody else involved because you got Kyle Kuzma. He could have been a borderline all-star by now. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
if Brandon Ingram made it, he could have been it too.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know how they're gonna. For some reason, I just thought they never lose them right. I mean, what do you thought about that game last night?
Oh, me. Oh, you told me. Oh,
Yeah,
that game.
Oh,
Kuzma was being aggressive in the fourth. Hits a big shot. Offensive boards. Harrell brought some great energy for them too down the stretch. And don't forget, KCP had that steal at the end when the Pacers were down by 3.
word, true that. Yo, Zach in the chat saying James Harden is the GOAT. No debate.
Come on.
I love the
Man.
beard, but nah, hell no. I won't go
you
that
know,
far.
hey, he capping with that one, man. Man, hey, that's how he feel, man. I can't pit nobody as the greatest without no championship. This is a comes down to wins and losses at the end of the day, too. You got to have some hardware.
Uh-huh.
You know. All right. Oh, you bet
Wow,
on
Bucks. The Wizards are giving the Bucks some trouble. Bucks up one late.
Is the Mavs playing tonight? I got Ryan
Yeah,
Johnson talking about
Giannis
the
is
Mavs.
playing. He is. Yes.
He playing against
Yeah,
the
he
Mavs?
is.
Oh, okay. So it's Dallas Mavs versus the Bucks?
No. The Bucks are playing the Wizards right now. The Mavs
Okay.
are in Denver against the Nuggets.
Oh, okay. So that's the game he's talking about.
Yeah.
Uh, what you think of Luca, Gillian?
Luca, he's pretty good. He can pass the ball. He just needs to be better. He needs to get a consistent mid-range shot. And Luca, he needs to be better defensively. And I love Luca. He can't go to the rim, but the problem I have with Doncic, sometimes he hauls the ball too much and goes for too many step back threes. He has to
Mm-hmm.
limit that. I'm fine with him shooting threes sometimes, but he needs to learn to, be a better overall shooter and needs to learn to be a better overall defender.
Mm. Do you think it's valid? People say that he's a Larry Bird of this generation.
Come on. Push it.
I
Let's
won't
go.
go
Let's go.
that far. Let's relax with the Larry Bird thing. Oh, they almost got a steal. Sorry. They almost got a steal.
Word.
Um,
Where? Zach is asking Gillian, who's your favorite player?
favorite player right now. Um, that is tough. If I had to choose a favorite player, I will probably say between Kawhi Leonard or Carmelo Anthony, around them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who's yours?
For me personally, I don't really have like a favorite player. I just have a guy that, on any given night, is just a guy I want to watch to play.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, I would say that the guy I'm more interested in watching the most is probably Kyrie Irving. He's like Showtime for me.
Mm-hmm. Kyrie is very crafty, skilled, beautiful. Beautiful dribble drive, beautiful
Yeah.
footwork. He's very Kyrie ridiculous with that rock.
Yeah. But it constantly changes with me. It depends on who I'm in the mood to watch. But right
Uh-huh.
now, I'm on the Kyrie fix.
Uh-huh.
Miles, Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard. Yep, I know. I got respect for Kawhi. I just hope he does his thing in the playoffs this year. See what he got.
Mm-hmm. So Nets survive barely, just barely.
Word. Man, they got that W, man. But I thought they should at least blow Detroit out
In
a
my
little
opinion,
more.
they should have, because it's like, again, I give the Pistons credit for hanging in, but if you're the Nets with that much experience and talent, it should never have been a game. Because if it wasn't for James Harden down the stretch, who knows what could have happened?
Word.
If you're the Nets, you don't want to play like that against the Knicks, because the Knicks are a feisty team. So if you're the Nets, you want to come out with more fire than that. You don't want to play around with the Knicks by Monday.
Word. Word. What the? Oh, this is the Bucks and the
Wizards right now,
Wizards. Yeah.
Bucks up
Exactly.
3. This has been a fun game, I can say. Fun game.
Word. Yo, what do you think Westbrook going to be next season? I got a feeling I don't know if he's going to be with this team next season.
I don't really know, man. I really don't know. It
It's like
depends
up in the
what.
air, right?
Yeah.
Word. Do you think he should leave or ask for a trade, or should just stay put?
I will wait to see how the end of the season goes. Because if the Wizards continue to flounder, then you may have to ask to bounce. But if they start to gain their rhythm at the end, then maybe not. So me, as of right now, I will stay tight until maybe later in the season.
Word.
Come on,
Now,
man. Hurry the fuck up.
wait, what happened? Who?
Nah, I'm talking about this 2K shit getting on my nerves, man.
Wait, are you playing? You playing against somebody online?
Online, yeah.
Oh,
But
you said
who has been your surprise and disappointing team so far?
surprise team. Oh my!
Well, maybe
They
okay.
got to
How
be
about surprise teams?
a surprise team. The Knicks,
Teams,
baby.
teams,
Oh,
teams.
teams.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say the Knicks is one of them.
Uh huh.
Um,
Oh,
disappointments.
we got Hawks.
Miami Heat would be one.
I mean, true, but Miami's not starting to play better a little bit.
Yeah, they are. But still, I will at least think they have a better record than what they have. Uh,
True.
let's see who else. The Mavs are disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Pointing
I mean,
from
I
the
know the Mavericks are starting to get it going, but it kind of waited too long to get it going.
yeah. So let's see another team I'm surprised with. Um, I guess. I mean, I guess this team goes in both categories for me. Really, it's the Warriors. I'm surprised that they're hanging in there just enough so they could compete in the tournament to be in the AFC,
Come
but
on.
they also disappointed too at the same time.
That is true.
So,
That's
so
true.
they can actually fit in both.
And don't sleep on the Hornets. The Hornets have been a surprise team themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
a young team. They missed the postseason 4 years in a row, and they're on the
Hmm.
verge of potentially making it this year. And the way it looks, I actually checked their schedule. The Hornets' schedule is pretty easy to end the second half of the year, so I expect them to take off. Expect them to make the playoffs.
Word. What about the Bucks? Are you impressed with them this year or disappointed?
Milwaukee's kind of been up and down, inconsistent. You don't know which team's going to show up.
Yeah.
Like, think about this. They were struggling against the Wizards without Bradley Beal. Like, really? Like, the Bucks. I know they're starting to play better as of late, but Milwaukee's coming up and down. They don't. They have nice talent, but they don't guard the 3-point
Come
line very
on, let's
well.
go, let's go. Every time.
As you saw in this game,
Come on, let's
and also the
go.
fact that you know is Giannis and Milton going to be consistent in the playoffs? I have to see to believe it. I don't know. So the Bucks, they've not been that impressive. I know they're a top 4 seed, but they should be better than the 3 seed. To be honest with you.
Word. Yeah, I know this is an NBA screen, but I'm gonna hit you with a question about football because Cam Newton and Tom Brady signed 1-year contracts with their team. Are you impressed, or you thought that was gonna happen? I know you
I
like
mean,
football
I'm
too,
not a
right?
big NFL person, but I do watch some football.
Okay.
I mean, you know,
Wait, what's your team?
I'm more of a basketball guy. But
Okay.
Come on.
if I had to choose football,
Yeah.
sadly, between the Jets and the Giants, sadly.
Oh, okay. That's right. Representing that East Coast swag, baby.
Yep, yes, sir.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, um, I think the moves are for Tom Brady and Cam Newton are right. I know Cam Newton had a struggle of a year because of
Yes, he did.
COVID and also because of a new system under Bill Belichick. And
Yeah.
For Tom Brady, showing again why he's one of the greatest athletes of all time. Taking
Right.
I know he had a great team around him in Tampa Bay, but nobody thought that Tampa Bay would go from missing the playoffs last year into being Super Bowl champions. So that is my thing. Good move by Tom Brady to take a pay cut so the team can get better, and for Cam Newton, hopefully he can you know play better in New England as he did in Carolina.
Oh my
Word.
god, yo.
Oh yeah, I think Hoop Facts losing. You losing over there, aren't you?
What the? Yo.
Hey, he losing. Yo,
Man,
but
shit.
Gillian, here's a question I wanted to answer you. All right. This Kobe and LeBron debate. Now
Uh huh.
let's just say for argument's sake, let's say LeBron and Kobe met in the finals in
Right.
'08, '09, and 2010. And Kobe beat LeBron all 3 of those years. What will be the narrative, or do you think people still will pit LeBron over Kobe?
The narrative would have been, Kobe had a better team than LeBron. That would be the narrative. Oh, LeBron had no help. That would be the narrative. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron. Let's compare LeBron and Kobe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, for me, I would have Kobe over LeBron.
Yo.
Personally, for me,
Mm-hmm.
but let's compare LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah.
LeBron's a better passer. We know that. Kobe Bryant's a better scorer. We know
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Rebounding, LeBron's a better rebounder, but here's the thing: he's a forward. When you're a forward, you're going to be a better rebounder than a guard.
Yeah.
Kobe is more athletic. You could argue at its prime, more athletic. Check Froby.
Right.
Back then, Kobe's a better shooter. No
Froby,
argument.
I like that.
Froby. Kobe Bryant's a better shooter.
Yeah.
Also, in my opinion, Kobe Bryant. Don't get me wrong, LeBron could lead a team, but in my opinion, you could argue that Kobe Bryant was a better leader. You could argue that.
Mm-hmm. Kobe led by tough love and all that stuff.
And more clutch. It's kind of debatable, but I'll choose Kobe slightly. Not by much, but slightly over LeBron the clutch. Slightly.
Okay. But would you think that would have put an end to the Kobe versus LeBron debate?
You couldn't make
Kobe beated him in the finals, or you think it's just been a narrative around it that LeBron didn't had enough to beat Kobe at that time?
I say somewhere of both, because here's the thing: some people, LeBron tards, would say, "Oh, LeBron had no help, blah blah blah. Kobe had this and that." Don't get me wrong; Kobe had a good team. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, let's be objective.
It's not a super team. Like, it's not a super team.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And people like saying, "Oh, the Cavs were trash." How are you trash and have the best record in the Eastern Conference? In fact, in the NBA in back-to-back years, 2009 they won 66 games. 2010, 61 games. How is that team trash? Were they super duper? No, but they were not a trash team. You had Mo Williams, who was a former All-Star, who hit big shots. Big Z, All-Star before LeBron, double-double machine. Delonte West, big shots for you. Booby Gibson. I know he was mediocre, but he could hit some big threes. They had a team. Wally Zerbiak, he was a former All-Star with Minnesota. He made some big plays there. Like, they were a good, formidable team. J.J. Hickson, energy player. Verja, energy player. They were a good team. It's just that, they just didn't get it done in the big moments.
Right. True that. Harlem Boy, he says, what you think LeBron would have done with Prime Shaq?
Here's the thing, though. Like, it's easy to say all of that, but here's the thing. People need to... It depends on the coach, okay? It depends on the coach, okay? People keep saying, "Oh, the Lakers would have dominated back then with LeBron." Here's the thing: LeBron does not want to listen to Phil Jackson, okay? He even says so himself, though. So it's going to be hard, though. So I don't know. I mean, I think they would have won a few championships. I'm positive a prime LeBron, a prime Shaq would have won a few championships, but. But if we're going to go by that argument, what would Kobe have done with Wade and Bosh? If we're going to go by that argument, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, if you pit superstars on team and they all in their prime, it's only common sense that you think they're going to win at some point. So, that's a different story. But I do think if Kobe beat it LeBron, not just once, but like 3 years in the finals, I'm pretty sure he would have beaten LeBron, even if LeBron made it to the finals with that Cavaliers team.
Probably.
So if that's the case and you do it more than once and nobody was on a super team, I'm gonna look at it like, hey, it's two superstars going up against each other. May the best man win or outplay each other. Yeah.
True, man. I mean, people can think what they want about LeBron and Kobe. I would choose Kobe over LeBron, to be honest with you. Because here's the thing. LeBron can play defense, but LeBron's a better shot blocker, but Kobe's a better defender. Because Kobe can stick on you, though. And that's why Kobe's, to me, is a better two-way player than LeBron.
True that. And Harlem Boy says LeBron doesn't want to listen to a coach. Where that narrative comes from. I think that narrative comes from, I'm going to let Gillian answer, but then I'm going to answer it for myself. I think that narrative come from the fact that, they call him lead GM, right? Because he wants to control everything about the franchise. So, and he takes away some plays. They run the LeBron.
And that's not a narrative. This is not a narrative. This is actually true. Yeah. Look, a narrative is something you build. That's something that's false. This is not narrative based. Okay.
Yeah. The LeBron system is real. It did exist. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, LeBron's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. I like LeBron. He's a good guy. He's a great player.
So do
That's
I.
the
Yeah.
thing. LeBron's a top 10 player of all time. There's no argument there.
No
And
question.
yes, if he does more, he may be the GOAT when his career's on. Maybe. But what I'm saying is that I'm sorry. I gotta be honest. When I use eye test, if we're going by just rebounds and assists, then is Russell Westbrook better than Kobe Bryant? If we're going by that logic?
True that. Yeah.
I mean,
I
those
mean,
are
I'm going with, even though Westbrook averages more. I mean, a lot of those assists and rebounds are empty stats for me. I'm still going with Kobe because it's more timing.
exactly. And here's the crazy, and here's the bias part, right? You know how people say, "Oh, Russell Westbrook stat pass," but they don't say the same thing with LeBron. That's what I don't get.
Yeah. True that.
I mean, people are biased sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong. LeBron, in my opinion, right now is the best player in the NBA. I think so. And yes, LeBron is a top 10 player of all time, arguably top 5. But I'm sorry. I just think that he's had too many failures for me to put him over Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry. I know people like saying, oh, the Warriors were this and that and blah, blah, blah. But they don't tell you back in 2017 in game 3, the Cavs were up by 7 points in the fourth quarter and lost by 5. And then in game 5, they only lost by 9 points. So it wasn't like the Warriors were just unbeatable. Like the media and people want to buy into this narrative. And also,
hold on. You know what the crazy thing about 2017? I'm glad you brought that up, because Cleveland still had their big three, and the Warriors had a big three.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Clay actually struggled in that playoff run, by the way, that year.
Yep. And I guess the X factor would be Draymond Green. If you really look at it, you know what I mean?
I mean, Draymond's a good player, don't we? Draymond he's a good player, but wow.
Yeah. But I mean, they both had multiple All-Stars on both teams.
Exactly. Cleveland, Kevin Love, LeBron, Kyrie Irving, and also technically Kyle Korver, Darren Williams, former All-Star.
So they had role players. I mean, yeah, but people want to give him a pass for that one. I mean, now the 2018, I mean, I'm pretty sure 2018, the Warriors just was a flat out better team.
Yeah, 2018, amen. I'll give LeBron a pass. Here's the thing. It's not the fact he lost that series. I can understand him losing the series, but getting swept, come on, man. Because here's the thing. The Pelicans without Boogie Cousins won a game against that Warrior team. People don't talk about that. The Spurs without Kawhi Leonard won a game against that Warrior team. And we all know the Rockets took them 7. So that's what I'm saying. Again, I can understand the Warriors beating the Cavs in 2018. I can understand that. That was going to happen. But at the same time, I felt the Cavs could have won a game, at least a game, or even 2.
No doubt.
That's what I'm saying. So, and people like saying, "Oh, LeBron took 5 different head coaches to the finals." Okay, didn't Eric Spoelstra make the finals without LeBron? I just want to throw this out there. Eric Spoelstra is a Hall of Fame head coach, right?
Yep.
So what are we implying? Look, that is true, but here's the thing: you're going to have different head coaches when you leave your team constantly. That's when do people think about all this stuff?
Yeah, and it's not like LeBron wasn't playing with a lot of help. Pre-Miami Heat years, so many he joined Miami Heat, and as the years went on, he just had nothing but great players surrounding around him.
Exactly.
No matter how you look at it, and he was playing in a time when he kind of depleted Gillian. He depleted the East. There was I think that at one time there was our only team in the Eastern Conference with 3 All-Stars on it.
There's also technically the Boston Celtics with the big 3, but
I'm talking about the second run. The
Cavs one, yeah, you may have a point, yeah.
Because a lot of those teams was below 500.
Like again, I'm not trying. Again, the East wasn't all that great. Okay, the East wasn't all that great. Look, who do I think had better competition? Clearly, Kobe Bryant by far.
Yeah, bro. LeBron tucked the East so weak that he didn't even pay it no attention in the regular season too much.
Exactly.
They'll lose games, like come the 5th seed or whatever, and he still know they was going to go to the finals come playoff time because it wasn't that much competition.
Well, technically, LeBron's teams have always had home court advantage. By the way, just throw it out there. And also the fact is, you have a point. I remember back in the 2014 season, the Miami Heat lost all 4 games in the regular season to the Brooklyn Nets. They lost twice to the Indiana Pacers. They lost They lost some head scratching games, but you know what they did in the playoffs? Dominated it until they met the Spurs. So yeah, that's the point. And even the Cleveland Cavaliers, I remember they lost like twice to the Hawks in the regular season and swept them in the playoffs. And that's what I'm saying. It's regular season stuff. It's like, yeah, it's regular season math, but it doesn't depict what's going to happen in the playoffs. The Eastern Conference didn't have the firepower like the Cavs or the Heat. They didn't have the experience or the talent like those two teams. Like, that's what I'm saying.
And LeBron was mad. He literally got whatever he wanted in Cleveland in that second run.
And I want to read this
all
comment.
the role players he wanted.
And I want to read this comment. Harlan Hezzy Boy said Kobe got carried his first 3 rings. You see, that annoys me. Okay, how did Kobe Bryant get carried to his first 3 rings when he was averaging like 28, 29 points per game in the playoffs constantly and making big shots? Just because you don't win a Finals MVP does not mean you're carried. So if we're going by that logic, did Andre Iguodala carry Steph Curry in 2015? If we're going by that logic, did LeBron carry Kyrie in 2016? If we're going by that logic, just because he didn't win a Finals MVP? People like to buy into the whole Shaq carry Kobe narrative. It's ridiculous. Look at Game 4, 2000. Kobe, 28 points, had 8 in overtime. Let me keep going. 2001, Game 1 against the Spurs, 45. 2001, Game 4 against the Kings, 48 points, 16 rebounds. Let me keep going. 2002, Kobe Bryant, I think he had like 35 against the Nets in Game 3. And also the fact that in the fourth quarter in that series, he shot 60+% in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Where is this narrative that Shaq carried Kobe? I'm just tired of that narrative.
Yes. And you know what? And you know what the thing about it is, Galen, they don't understand. That'd have been LeBron too, because remember Kobe just got drafted into the league.
Exactly. Shaq was the best player in the NBA
at the time, and he was the big free agent that went from Orlando to the Lakers. So they was going to build the team around Shaq at that time anyway.
Even if you would have put Michael Jordan with Shaq at the time, the way they were going to feed Shaq during that three-peat, Shaq might have won Finals MVPs anyway. You could put Bird, Magic, Kobe, LeBron, guys like that. You know what I mean? Where Shaq was going to win Finals MVPs because you know why? He was the best player in the NBA. He was the most dominant center in the league. But people don't want to think about that. They just want to look at, Kobe got carried because, he didn't win a Finals MVP. I get tired of that garbage, man.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is Kobe was arguably a top 5 player after their first championship. That's an early age to be top 5.
Exactly. And even in 2000, Shaq deserved Finals MVP. Okay. 2001, Shaq should have won Finals MVP. Okay. 2002 could have been a co-MVP. Like, Kobe Bryant shot like 50+% in against the Nets and like 55% or whatever from downtown in that series. Where is this Shaq carry Kobe come from? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was, if any case you want to talk about a 1A, 1B, that'd be the perfect example of it. That'd have been a perfect example of it.
And here's the crazy, right? You always hear people, look at Harlem Hayes Boy. LeBron carried Kyrie. What are you talking about? Kyrie, oh boy. You see, this is why I don't respect everyone's opinion because of bullshit like this. Like, think about this. Think about this. Kyrie Irving averaged 27 in the series. He shot 47% from the field, 41% from 3, and in Game 5 had 41 in Game 5. Game 4, 34. Game 3, I think he had like 32. Game 7, like 27. And also hit the game-winning 3 to win the championship. How did LeBron carry Kyrie in 2016?
Exactly.
How?
Kyrie was putting up alpha all-star numbers.
Exactly.
That wasn't no sidekick numbers.
Exactly. It was both of them. LeBron and Kyrie did their part.
Oh, yeah.
And you see, I always hate people who say, but look who won Finals MVP. It doesn't matter because it's like, just because you don't win the Finals MVP does not mean you get carried. Example, right? Did Iguodala won Finals MVP in 2015? Did he carry Steph Curry?
Nope.
So what are people talking about?
Man, he made Kyrie. Kyrie was always getting good, man. He was a top draft pick.
That's what I'm
Harlem.
saying. He was like a top 10 point guard.
He was an all-star MVP. Why you think LeBron wanted to go there in the first place? He looked at Kyrie as being the next Dwayne Wade, a younger version of Dwayne Wade. Mm-hmm. And then I could go and get what's the dude name? Kevin Love. He could be the next
Love. He was the best power forward in the NBA.
Exactly. You know, so all he did was trying to recreate a younger version of what he did in Miami, in Cleveland.
Exactly. Kevin Love was already a top 10, top 15 player before LeBron, and Kyrie Irving was like a top 10 point guard in the NBA before LeBron. What are people talking about? You see, those are LeBron dick riders I'm seeing on a comment. Just dick slurpers. Oh, LeBron made Kyrie. That's one of the dumbest things I ever heard. That's one of the dumbest things I ever listened to. Like, Kyrie was one of the best electrifying scorers in the NBA, was crafty, could attack the rim, and could hit the three in the mid-range. Kevin Love was giving you double-doubles. He can rebound, can pass, and can shoot the three. So where is this narrative that LeBron made Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, now he says Kyrie was a bust before LeBron came there. No, he didn't.
Boy, man.
You act like LeBron went to the playoffs when he first came to Cleveland. So by that logic, that means LeBron was a bum.
Mm-hmm. And here's the bias, right? You know how people say, "Oh, but Kyrie could not make the playoffs without LeBron." Here's the bias, right? Like, what kills me is this, okay? They give LeBron excuses saying, "Oh, he didn't have a team." Who did Kyrie play with before LeBron and Kevin Love went there? Who? An old Jerry Jack, an old Luol Deng, and a banged up Anderson Varejao, Spencer Hawes, really? CJ Miles, really? I mean, Alonzo G, Anthony Bennett. That's who Kyrie was playing with before he had LeBron and Love. So what are we talking about?
Word.
And for Kevin Love, he was in the West. And also, Ricky Rubio was his point guard. He was injury prone. Nikola Pekovic, really? Kevin Martin was old. Corey Brewer, really? That's what Kevin Love was playing with. Chase Budinger, Alexis Fed.
And keep in mind, that's the Western Conference that he was
Exactly. The West. We had teams like the Suns, the Mavs, the Spurs, the Clippers, the Thunder, the Grizzlies, teams like that.
No doubt. Oh, damn. Westbrook dropped 42 today in that loss, huh? Oh, okay, damn. He got his triple-double, 42, 10, and 12. Man, I missed that game. But that game was fun to watch.
It was a great game, though. I feel bad for Westbrook. He did his best. It's just that, they didn't have enough firepower to beat the Bucks. The Wizards 14-23. Washington is also kind of disappointing, too, to be honest with you. Like, they've also kind of been a disappointment. I know they have injuries with Thomas Bryant, but it's like, even when they were healthy, they've never gotten the chemistry together. And that's the reason why they have struggled.
Right. All right, man. That game is over with. What's the next game? We got Denver versus what? The Mavs, right? That's at 7? That'd be at 7:00 on my time. And it's starting in a few minutes, right?
Denver versus Dallas, yeah. Right. And here's another thing, too. Harlem Hayesboy. Oh, he took Booby Gets into the finals. Yeah, that may be true, but let's look at Game 4, 2007. Booby had, 21 points in that game? And then in Game 6, he had, 31 points?
I mean, by that logic, I mean, Kobe took the machine to the finals. So, I mean, where are we going? Every team had role players.
Here's the thing. I don't even hate LeBron. But according to the moron you see in the comment section, he's just one of those Bron dick worshippers who don't know what they're talking about. This is the reason why I don't respect Bron sexuals. I can respect a LeBron fan who's objective, but LeBron fans.
He said Kobe was a rapist, but y'all rather we're not hating on LeBron.
We're not. LeBron. Then I just
Kobe being a racist got nothing to do with us talking about basketball, man. That's like
exactly. It's basketball.
Personal, that's personal court stuff. I'm gonna stay away from that.
Exactly. It's basketball. Why bring up personal stuff? Like, this is the reason why sometimes you can't have a conversation with certain people sometimes. Because it's like just stupidity like this. It's like, again, if you think LeBron's better than Kobe, that is fine. But at the same time, let's be objective about both guys here. Again, if you think LeBron is the GOAT, good for you. I have LeBron. I think MJ's the GOAT. That's just me. But I think LeBron's a top 10 player. I just have Kobe over him.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not wrong with saying Kobe's over LeBron, man. You know, because I keep thinking, I keep saying this. If Kobe was waiting for this dude in the finals about 3 years while he was alpha in his
08,
prime.
09, 2010,
yeah, while he was in his prime. So I mean, it's a different story. You know, Kobe was always like 7 or 6 years older than LeBron. So I mean, I don't know, man, but I do know one thing. I'm pretty sure Kobe would have beaten LeBron multiple years in the finals.
Probably, yeah.
I think that would have changed a lot in the narrative of it. You know.
Yeah. There's always these narratives that people like buy into the whole, LeBron had no help. How do you have no help and you win 66 and 61 games? I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. How do you have no help and make the finals in 2007?
Right.
And do people forget in the NBA? Again, I'm not trying to hate on LeBron here. I'm not. But in the 2007 finals, do people forget that his teammates actually did their job, but LeBron struggled in that series against the Spurs? Because let's look at the facts. Game 1, the Cavs only lost by game 1, the Cavs only lost by 9. Game 2, they only lost by 11. Game 3, they only lost by 3. Game 4, they only lost by a point. What are we talking about here? Tim Duncan was actually bad in that series in 2007, and so is Manu Ginobili. The only Spur that was killing them was Tony Parker. So how did LeBron have no help in that playoff run? His teammates actually did their job, but LeBron struggled in that series. Again, they were going to lose to the Spurs anyway. Look, the Spurs were going to beat the Cavs anyway, but to get swept, why should I give LeBron an excuse for getting swept? You can't say he had no help when his teammates were doing their job. But according to morons like you see on the chat, you know, they want to ignore that.
Word. But yeah, man. With that being said, we about to be up out of here, man. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Gillian as usual, Hoop Facts, and you know everybody else, man. You know, y'all have a good night, man.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
Peace. See you later.